Well, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for joining us today for our new knowledge session. My name is Sandy Ratliff. I'm with Virginia Community Capital. If you're not familiar with us, we're a financial institution that's focused on lending, investing, and community innovation. We're one of the largest community development financial institutions in Virginia. We are happy to partner in this program with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and the town of Abington. We've been doing this program since 2014, and it started to support the Washington County Business Challenge, who we just finished up the 9th year. It's hard to believe. But we did this program to support the winners and other small businesses and entrepreneurs that want to launch and grow businesses in Washington County. And it seems to have grown in regards to our viewers that take advantage of this professional development series. Just a little housekeeping. Just wanted to let everybody know that today's session is being recorded for education and training purposes, and it will be available later today on the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator's Facebook page and our YouTube channel, New Knowledge, which you can go there and find probably close to 170 workshops that we've done over the past few years. Now, to keep the webinar flowing and to help our presenter, we do have everybody muted. However, I know that our speaker does want to hear from you. And if you have questions, please post those in the Q&A section, and we will address those during the session. We are doing this to help you, and we are fortunate to have a professional like I want to introduce Danny Rubel with Spiegler Blevins. Danny is a CPA there and has also had a number of functions in community organizations. And I've known Danny from my years also with the Chamber of Commerce. So he is a professional, knows everything ins and outs about QuickBooks. We've been fortunate to have him for the last 3 sessions. If you missed those, just go to our YouTube channel and you can find those. But I'm going to turn it over to Danny, and the floor is all yours now.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you to all of our sponsors, Virginia Community Capital, the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and the Washington County Chamber of Commerce for allowing me to share this time with you. Going to dive into our Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. This is the sample file that we've been working in the last couple of weeks in QuickBooks, QuickBooks Online. And in the previous sessions, we covered invoicing, accounts receivable, vendors, accounts payable, the customers with the accounts receivable, and the initial setup features. Today, I'm going to cover part of it will be a review from prior sessions, and then some other miscellaneous items that we have not covered before. Just as a recap, going to go to the reports section, and under the standard reports, we've got the accounts receivable aging summary, the balance sheet, and the profit and loss statement starred. The other 2 items that I might encourage you to star is your accounts payable aging summary, and a little further down, your reconciliation reports. And these are your primarily your bank reconciliations and or credit card reconciliations if you reconcile the credit cards using the reconciliation feature. Just as a recap, the accounts receivable aging summary gives you a snapshot of what customers you have with outstanding invoices, and how much they owe you, and how long those invoices have been outstanding. As with most QuickBooks reports, you can choose the dates or the date range that you want. You can do it as of today, this week, this month, last month, last year. Those are all pretty common features in the QuickBooks reports. The accounts payable aging summary is similar to the receivables. These are the vendors or the folks that you owe money to. And again, similar to the accounts receivable aging summary, this shows you who you owe and how long those invoices have been outstanding. You can use the date feature on this report as well. On both the accounts receivable and accounts payable aging summaries, you can also click on the amounts, and those amounts will open up whatever the detail is on these reports. The next two reports we haven't really discussed very much, but the first one is the balance sheet, and this gives you a shot of what we in accounting used to be called, and I guess maybe it still is called, statement of financial position. And this just shows you what your assets and liabilities are, as well as your retained earnings. And in QuickBooks, they also show you what your net income for the year to date is at this time. One feature that I like to use whenever I'm looking at a balance sheet and a profit and loss statement or income statement, and we'll take a look at that in a minute, is this second column under show non-zero or active only. I like to see just the non-zero columns or accounts, and that's just a personal preference for me. That way I'm taking a look at the accounts that I think probably need the most attention paid to. And if you have a large chart of accounts, that just gets rid of a lot of accounts that you may not have made inactive yet. Other items that you can do, you can display columns. You can do it by quarters or months or even years, depending on how you want to see your balance sheet presented. Probably the most popular is probably going to be the profit and loss statement or the income statement, and this will show you what your income sources are year to date, as well as your year to date expenses, or again, whatever time period that you're looking at. Maybe you want to just see what happened last month as opposed to what's happened for the year so far. And you can just change that to last month, click the run report item again, and that will update. Again, I like to use these non-zero features. And what I might want to do is one of the quick reports that QuickBooks has added is this year to last month feature. And if we display this column by months and then click our run report again, this will show us in report detail how we're doing on each month. And those months will be displayed for you with each month in its own column. And again, you can click on any amounts and it will take you to the detail of that account. And the next feature that I'd like to show, and you can do this with any kind of report just about, is you can do a save customization, and you can name the report however you'd like to, and you can even determine whether you want to share the report. And when we save this customization, when we go to our reports tab on the left-hand side, we can then go to our custom reports, and we see that the profit and loss by month, which is the report that we just saved, is right there for us. It kept all the formatting that we formatted the report in, and that is just a really handy feature, I think, especially if it's a report that you're using on a continuous basis. The next the feature that I'd like to go over is to get there, we're going to go in the upper right-hand corner. We're going to click on our gear icon, and under list, we're going to just do a quick discussion on the recurring transactions. We discussed this very briefly, I think last session when we were discussing vendors, and this will give us a list of transactions that we have that are set up to be recurring. In this example, we've got a telephone bill that's been scheduled for every month, and it's showing us that the next date that is scheduled to be paid is on May 21st. If we click the drop-down arrow next to the edit button, we can choose to use this. And when you choose the select or the use button, you can change the dates and the amounts on this transaction, and then you can save and schedule the payment, or save and close. Those are all options. One feature that we really enjoy in this recurring transactions are for folks that aren't using QuickBooks Online as their primary point of sale system. You may have another accounting system or another software that you use to generate invoices in, is to post your daily sales reports in a journal entry format. And so we can help you get those transactions formatted for you. And generally what we do is we save a template in which your daily sales will have a template format with no amounts keyed in, and then you would just simply come to this screen and choose that template and do the drop down and to use that template. It'll bring it up for you, and you can key in your daily sales report, or from whatever system that you may be using, whether it's another software or even just a cash register tape. Again, to get to this feature, you go to the gear icon, and under list, it's going to be the recurring transactions. Another feature that is kind of new, it's not really new to QuickBooks necessarily, but more and more clients and customers are using these, are different apps that are available in QuickBooks. These are apps that you may be using, and you can sync these to your QuickBooks file. And some of the more popular apps are Square, Salesforce, and Bill.com. Now, a lot of these apps are free, and some of the apps, while the app may be free, the actual service may require a subscription, such as Bill.com. Bill.com, the app may be free, but you do have to be a subscriber to their service. And while I don't use a lot of the apps myself, I have used some in the past, and they are quite handy. And one of the best ways to use those apps is to when you click on them, a lot of the apps will take you to a YouTube video to show you how to set up the app to work with your QuickBooks file. Again, like I said, Square, Salesforce, Bill.com are some of the more popular apps. And when I looked at the app earlier today for Square, it gives you a variety of options as to whether you want to pull those transactions in individually, or if you just want one lump sum to post to your books. And so that's a really neat, handy feature. And what I would suggest is if you're going to use any of these apps, that you take the time to watch the YouTube videos that show you how to make these apps run efficiently for you. Apps are they're just like your cell phones and iPads. There's a lot of them out there. Some work really well, some not as good, and so I'm a little hesitant to endorse any of them. However, just like anything else, you need to evaluate the apps and what works best for you. Another feature in QuickBooks is the payroll feature. QuickBooks does offer the ability to run payroll for you. There is a variety of subscription levels within QuickBooks, and the option that I would recommend the most is the option in which it might be considered a full service. I can't remember what QuickBooks calls the service, but it's the feature in which QuickBooks does direct deposits for you, but more importantly, takes care of paying all of your payroll taxes and filing your payroll tax forms. What I do recommend is if the payroll feature is something that you are interested in, that you contact QuickBooks directly to allow them to help you get set up correctly. Payroll is definitely a feature that you want to get right, and the few folks that we've assisted in the past, I think QuickBooks has done a pretty good job in helping them get the payroll set up. Again, I would use the feature that has QuickBooks making the payments and filing your payroll tax returns for you. That's one less thing for you to have to remember to do. And making payments or trying to do those manually, QuickBooks can be a little tricky sometimes. The other item that I would, in discussing payroll, would be to encourage you to make sure that you evaluate the folks that you're using, and make sure that you classify those folks correctly as either contractors or employees. You don't want to get into any kind of trouble with the Department of Labor folks, and not classifying folks that are working for you is a surefire way to cause yourself a much bigger headache. While we're discussing independent contractors, I'll just remind you that under vendors, when you're setting up a new vendor, whether they're a contractor or just a vendor, is to request a 1099 from that vendor so that you can key in their social security number and choose the option to track payments for 1099s if that person is going to need a 1099. That will save you a lot of headaches at the end of the year and in January of the following year when it's time to file those 1099s. What I would say is just a general accounting best practice is to request a W-9 before you ever cut the first check. Vendors generally want to be paid. They want to be paid timely. And one of the best ways to get the W-9 from them is to simply not pay them until you've got that information, and then you don't have to worry about trying to track that information down at the end of the year. The next feature that I'll show you in QuickBooks is the magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner. This is a search feature, and you can search for a variety of items. It will store your most recent transactions here. As an accountant, The feature that I use the most is I like to search for amounts, and I can key an amount in, and it will tell me if that amount is has been used in the file, and if so, I'm not doing a very good job of finding an amount right now that's been used, but you can. Here we go. So these are transactions that have been greater than $1,500, and within these transactions, it will give you a list. In this case, anything after June 1st, 2020, and it will allow you to click on the transaction and take you to. It'll generally pull that transaction up for you. So that's the search feature up in the upper right-hand corner. The next feature that I'd like to go over is the help feature. Within QuickBooks, you can, the help feature is constantly evolving. You can use the search function here and key in search terms that or keywords that maybe you're having trouble getting the QuickBooks file to use. Sometimes this is a pretty good help. Sometimes it's a little easier to use Google. I found. The other option is under the assistant top side. You can contact QuickBooks, and one of the best features that I think QuickBooks has is sometimes the chat feature is very quick to use, but sometimes probably the easiest thing to do is to request a callback. My experience has been that generally QuickBooks has been pretty good about responding to calls and making a callback to you within the time frame that they indicate that it may be, whether it's 15 to 20 minutes or maybe sometimes it could be up to an hour or two. But again, they are generally pretty good at responding when they say that they're going to respond to you. Just as a refresher, on the dashboard, probably the under our banking, this shows us the accounts that we have that are synced with QuickBooks, and we have a feature here asking us whether we want to match transactions or to categorize and add transactions to our books. And this is coming in from the sync, and you can do this for each account. And what you would want to do is just click on the account, and that will bring up the transactions that are have been pulled in by QuickBooks. The sync feature is very handy. Just as a word of caution, be sure to not to duplicate your transactions, whether those are deposits or checks. Under accounting, under chart of accounts, this just gives you a listing of your chart of accounts. You can see under the banking that there's icons next to the bank that indicates that those accounts are synced with the bank. We can see that we're using 44 of 250 accounts in this subscription. One feature that you may want to consider adding to your chart of accounts, if we go to our gear icon for our settings and go into our accounts and settings, under the advanced tab for our chart of accounts would be to click the pencil icon to edit, and that would be to enable account numbers. If you're not using account numbers already, I would highly encourage you to use those. If you already have a chart of accounts and you want to add an account number, if you'll click the little drop down icon next to View Register and click Edit, it will pop up and it will allow you to put an account number in there, and that will make your accounting folks incredibly happy. Again, if we go to the gear icon, accounts and settings, under the advanced tab, we'll check the chart of accounts. We'll even say to show the numbers for us. We'll save that, click done, and you can see that the account number that we've assigned to the inventory here is 1200. And again, account numbers is something that's really handy, and your accounting folks will certainly be really pleased with you if you'll use that feature. Going back under the icon, the gear icon, this is where the majority of the setup is available for you. Under QuickBooks Labs, this is kind of features that QuickBooks are trying out that may or may not have been released yet. And it's places that they try out new features before they're released. So if there's something that interests you, sometimes QuickBooks Labs is a good place to go and check out what may be coming. Sandy, I know that this has only been a half hour so far, but that's really about everything that I had set up today to cover, unless there's some questions out there.
Well, I've got, I know that Jean had suggested pointing out the help feature in QuickBooks that allows you to search for specific topics and that type of thing, and how it could be used for, for the benefit. Then I have a couple questions. So,
yeah, the help feature, you can either use the assistant or the search tab, and just search in the terms that you may be needing assistance with, or click the contact us button. And there's a variety of features there that can walk you through how to get in contact with QuickBooks.
Great. Anita, speak up if you've got a question, but I have another one. If you're a new business and I am just getting ready to set up QuickBooks, if you could give somebody some advice, what would be the top 4 or 5 things that they need to do right at the beginning so they don't screw up?
So under the gear icon is under accounts and settings. What I would do is I would examine each of these options on the left-hand side and go down each feature. Adding a logo, if you have a logo, is certainly an ideal thing to do, I think, especially to help you with your branding. Putting in as much information in here that you can. Your address, your legal address, the company, the type of company you are. If you're going to be using an Intuit type tax product, that will certainly help you with your taxes. And then just a lot of the features that we went over maybe in this first period or the first session, as far as how you want your invoices set up. Do you apply late fees? Are you using inventory or not using inventory? those are all features that I probably can't stress enough. The setup from the get-go is really critical to having a really nice, clean set of books. So under the gear icon, if you'll just go down each of these left-hand columns and just go down the entire, whatever it is that you're working on, and getting that set up from the get-go will really help you. I think the next item would be, depending on whether you're selling products or services, would be to set up your products and services that you're going to be using on a recurring basis, and whether or not you have any default, standard pricing. Go ahead and put those prices in there, and that will make you that'll make creating invoices a lot easier when you get going. And then I think syncing, getting your bank accounts and credit cards synced with QuickBooks to where QuickBooks can pull those transactions in and either make them available to match or to make them available for you to add to your books. I think that's a really nice feature, and those are probably my top 2 or 3. Probably best advice for folks that are setting up a new business or a new set of books.
Nita, you have a question?
Well, I was going to ask for like people that are nonprofits, considered a nonprofit and everything. Do you have any other pointers if they're going to go with QuickBooks?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
For someone that might be a nonprofit organization, do you have some pointers for them that if they're going to use QuickBooks? I found it to be very user-friendly, especially with the assistance of Spiegler Blevins helping us along. So I was just wondering if someone's thinking about maybe using QuickBooks, if you could maybe give them some pointers.
Yeah, I think with nonprofits, QuickBooks, some of the terminology may be a little different, but all of the features that we've covered so far are just as applicable as folks that are doing a for-profit business, and so running reports, looking at accounts receivable aging reports, looking at accounts payable, making sure that you don't have a lot of things outstanding. I think those are all critical, whether you're in a for-profit business or a not-for-profit. I think QuickBooks, for the most part, I think they use the same language for profits and non-for-profits. But I think in general, looking at your balance sheet, reviewing your profit and loss statements, those are all critical to monitoring your business.
Hey, Danny, we have a question for Jean Gallagher. When you have an outstanding invoice, let's say for $50 to a customer, and are getting ready to create a new invoice for another $50 to that same customer, can you go over how to make sure the customer knows they owe $100 and not just $50?
Sure. Give me just a second while I try to see if I can see that really quick under. I know that yep. So when you're creating an invoice, before you create that invoice, if you'll go to your gear icon and accounts and settings, and under the sales tab, if you'll scroll down towards the bottom, I know on the statements here on this particular file, they've got to show an aging table at the bottom of the statement. Some invoices, I think there may be a setting that will show the aging at the bottom of the invoice. I'm not 100% sure if that's a feature or if that's only in a statement format, but we'll try to create an invoice here really quick and see what happens. Just add and see if we can preview this. I think the way this particular vendor is or QuickBooks file is set up, they don't have the aging at the bottom of this particular invoice, but I think that is a setup feature, and I just don't know where it is right off the top. But using making sure that you're using separate invoice numbers is definitely one way, so that when you're talking to your customer, that they know that that you're talking about two different invoices, even though it may be the same amount.
Okay. I have one last question. Can you manage or access your QuickBooks from either a smartphone or tablet? And what I'm thinking about is somebody that is on the go, a mobile type. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. QuickBooks Online is they have apps in both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Some of the features are a little more limited, but there are a lot of the features, like you can't really look at reports. The last time I was in the app, you couldn't really look at reports. At least on my phone, I wasn't able to, but you can invoice from your phone. You can record expenses from your phone. I think one of the really cool features in using the app, particularly with phones, is if you're at a restaurant and you pay for you pay for your meal at the restaurant, before you leave the table, you can snap a picture of the receipt and attach it to that transaction. And I think that's a really neat feature that QuickBooks has. And so I know that the apps are available on both the App Store and the Play Store for Google. And I would imagine that the apps are also available for iPads and tablets. I haven't used it on an iPad or a tablet, but I would imagine that they would function very similar to the apps on the phones.
I think that would work good for, people are doing these pop-up businesses where they can be anywhere on the street or at a fair or wherever. And so to keep them from getting too far behind, maybe they're going to a festival. I'll just make up the Fiddlers Convention in Hillsville, and they have the table set up and they're going to be there for several days or weeks. They can keep things up to date. As you said, you might not be able to do a full report, but can I process payments there? If I have my Square or whatever, I guess they use Intuit, whatever that QuickBooks uses, then they can process it and keep everything going.
Yeah, again, you're going to want to check out the apps and see which apps sync with QuickBooks. That there are apps also that aren't necessarily Intuit built apps that will work with QuickBooks. I guess one of the features that I really like about QuickBooks Online versus the desktop version is the ability to, as we like to call it, you have access anytime, anywhere from any device. And so whether you're using a PC or a Mac, whether you're using Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or Safari, iPhone or Android, you've got the ability to have access to your books pretty much from anywhere that you have an internet connection.
Leona Forbes posted that the app is very user-friendly on the iPhone and iPad. Thanks, Leona. And that could even be great for even the Chamber of Commerce, and you're having a membership meeting or an event, and someone says, can I pay for my dues while I'm here? And if you could process them there. So I could see all kinds of bonuses to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
I've got one question. This is going back to what Jean was asking about the statements.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have like an aging report and you send out invoices that are maybe 60 days late or something, and when you do that, it turns into a statement. And then we've had some members at that time say, I'm sorry, I can't pay from a statement. It needs to be an invoice. So what do you do? Do you backtrack? I mean, how do you handle that?
Yeah, I think I would probably go back into our sales and our customers, and pull up the invoice and resend it to them. Send a reminder, or just print the invoice back to a PDF and resend it. In an email, probably be the best way to handle that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I don't see any other questions, and I am fresh out. Danny, I can't thank you enough for the last 4 sessions, for leading them. I know you just don't sit down. There takes some planning to do this. So I thank you for sharing your expertise with our folks. And just a reminder, this is being recorded, and it'll be available on the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator's Facebook page, but also on our YouTube channel, New Knowledge, where you'll find close to 170 sessions there, but also the last 3, and today's session will be up posted later. So thank you so much for all the valuable information and tips that you've shared, Danny. I just want to remind folks that, we've got one more session left in this series of New Knowledge sessions. And our next session will be held on June the 15th, and is going to be focused on developing a marketing plan, which is key for all of us. Is how we're going to, it's not build it and they will come, is how we're going to market and promote our business to continue growing and finding new customer touch points. So Kim Davis with the Southwest Virginia Cultural Heritage Center, some people think of it still as Heartwood, will be leading that session. Kim has a lot of experience in marketing, especially with events, but in other aspects of marketing. So I hope you can join us on June the 15th. And as we always say, if you like today's session, and once I send out the link, please share that with others who could find value in the content. That's why we're doing it. We're here to help and support our small business within our communities and everyone that touches this. Before I close, I just wanted to ask my partner, Nita Farmer with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, if there's anything you would like to say.
Well, just want to say thank you for being a part of our New Knowledge series. Thank you, Danny. You're always great to work with. We appreciate you so much. And please let us know if you know of some topics you would like to see on our series that we're doing. We're going to start working on that soon. Right, Sandy?
Yes, and please, if you've got a topic that you want to include or suggestions, I've even started jotting down some ideas that I have, but let us know. As I said earlier, we're doing this for you. And Leona, I heard that. So social media is definitely on there. So we'll make sure we get that. But join us again. And thanks Danny, for being a blessing to all of us today, and hope to see you in a couple weeks. Everybody, take care.
One was the row enterprise. Yeah, well,